This is Dabu7, some underground world news. Start off here with this fireball shared by Sheila Aliens. You can see it zips by right here. And this was over Japan here recently on March 5th. Wanted to share that with you guys. And out of Ferguson, we have reports that 2 men were shot last night in 2 different vehicles. The police say that around 7 p.m. they got calls, they arrived. They had found 2 vehicles still running at this intersection in 2 different cars. These guys were behind the wheels, and apparently someone walked up and shot both of them, was targeting both of them at the same time, and took them out at this intersection. They're investigating another vehicle that sped off from the scene. But that's the latest in regards to these 2 men. They say that were in their early 20s. They have not released any names or a motive at this point, as they're still seeking witnesses and a suspect. Now, some updates to the Oregon standoff. Interesting. I called out time and time again all the lies that Blaine Cooper was throwing out there, including his lies about him being in the military. Well, his own father and stepmother both call him out in court and say that he is a liar that lies whenever it suits his needs. Now, right now, they're using Blaine and others to testify in regards to what's going on with these last 4 individuals that they're trying in regards to the Oregon standoff. Now, what's interesting is they just brought in Mr. Soper that was giving statements as well. And they're all saying that basically it was mentioned that they were going to take over this refuge, but they're trying to put it out there as it was discussed as an option, not in concrete that they were definitely going to do it. So it's a lot of back and forth, but it's pretty bad when you're in court and your own parents step up and say that you're a liar. Doesn't make it look good for you at all. At this point, they've also provided evidence. Buddha brought forth a picture and shared showing Blaine with a gun. And he is a convicted felon, and they're saying that that is 30 years right there. So he's got all types of stuff piled up on him at this point. And I'll leave a link here so you guys can read into the rest of the details here pertaining to that. Now, I've talked about weather modification many times. We've seen the crazy weather as of late. And a shout out to folks that send me information, dabu7yahoo.com. This is one of those instances where you can see right here in the writing that there has been weather modification for a long time. I have individuals sometimes pop up and say, weather modification is a conspiracy theory and that it doesn't exist. And they're obviously very green and don't know what they're talking about, because weather modification has been around for a long time, decades. They used it in Vietnam, and you can see right here in Colorado, period. They've been using it since the 50s. Different forms. And cloud seeding, as we've talked about before, there's some information here on that for those that want to look into it. Now, the Republicans just released this Obamacare replacement bill, what they're calling it, the American Health Care Act. And what they've done is they took away some of the mandated stuff, and they're kind of restructuring the way that it already was, leaving some of the key components of Obamacare in place. And they're also stating that they're looking to keep up the system inside of the states, where people can still go to the marketplace within the states and get their insurance. Now, if you want to know more about the details of this, all the little nitty-gritty things that come along with these changes, you have to look into the heart of the bill itself, or the act. They have the American Health Care Act. And this is going to affect people differently given whatever situation you're currently in. And it's really going to come down to the individual to look into this to see how it affects them. So make sure to check that out. Now, Vault 7 being talked about, all this information. Right out the gate, it reminds me of the recent Veritas release that was a dud. Now, I'm talking in terms of bombshell information. When I say bombshell, I mean bombshell. Okay? And when I see information put out there that is basically stuff we already knew, it's not that bombshell to me. Now, I've been saying for years, I don't know how many videos I've done telling you that your TV's spying on you, that they're tracking you on Facebook, on all this other stuff, just all the way around. We've been saying this for years. So this WikiLeaks dump or Vault 7 isn't too shocking to me. And if you actually go on to look, they state, well, all we did was verify it, but we haven't mined it or gone through it all. We're leaving that up to the journalist to do. This is what they say right here. How can you verify something if you've not gone through it? They want others to do the legwork. So they're sitting here telling you, trying to tell you that they verified it, but they didn't even go through it? Makes no sense. What does make sense is that the CIA is controlling all of these things, and I don't think people see it or even want to see it. They connect themselves to some of these individuals out here on the world stage. They get emotionally attached. They buy in to it, and then it's hook, line, and sinker. They're already snagged, and they don't even realize it. It's only those that do realize it and can break free and step back and say, okay, I made a mistake. This dude is a part of it. He's obviously working for them now. I see it now. When you start to see this on the world stage with certain characters, you start to see the bigger picture. And this is why I call it a world stage. When you start to see how all these world leaders have certain knowledge that they keep from all the people of their countries, meaning that there's information that these world leaders share and know, knowledge behind the scenes, that the people of the countries are not privy to. They're kept in the dark on. And when you have MI6, when you have, or MI5, whatever alphabet gang, CIA, FBI, whoever it is out there, they have been surveilling things for the longest time. And as we were just talking about here, and they're trying to make a big deal out of all of a sudden with them tracking you through electronics, they have been doing this. But on the other side of the coin, when you look at a whole city that has been engineered and put together with the fact in mind that they want to track people electronically using all types of different instruments, all types of different technology, that becomes pretty scary, because then they can start to manipulate things, which they're already doing, I'm here to tell you. And they can predict things. Them tracking you on Facebook like a mouse. They're tracking your every move. Every day you're going in circles. That one time if you make a pit stop to the store, you stop off to get coffee, you got to go through the laundromat, you got to go the car wash, you got to do this, that. They see this pattern. They see where you go, who you talk to. It draws your life. It paints your life in like this 3D realm, in a computer-generated model where consciously it knows more about you than you do. Because it's picking up on all the small things that you're doing and logging them, keeping track of them, things that you may not even realize. And it's monitoring this full time, where you can't sit there and think of everything at one time. These computers can sit there and do that and monitor all these different things. And that's the dangerous part about it. We've talked about AI. Elon Musk talking about humans are going to have to face the fact that we're going to have to merge with technology if we want to advance. That's scary. And when you hear individuals talking like that, you better take a good, long, hard look at who they are and what they represent and where they're taking things. Now, in terms of recent weather, I talked about the weather modification. We've seen some severe weather come through the Midwest here recently. You're talking 29 tornadoes yesterday alone. Kansas, Missouri, Illinois. So this is the beginning, obviously, of tornado season, so to speak, as the coming months in different areas are going to see a lot more. Those numbers increase on average. You can see here giant tennis ball sized hail was falling in some of these areas. Now, how you get that hail is from that uplift. When you have the water freezing and then starting to drop, you have a low or another system pushing up that has so much lift that it's pushing that back up into the upper atmosphere, where it is again catching more moisture and then refreezing. Then it starts to drop with that weight. And usually they'll drop out smaller size hail if there's not a lot of lift underneath. If there is a lot of lift, it will keep that up there for a longer period of time. It will grow larger and larger and larger until its weight is just too much and it finally falls out of the sky because the lift can't keep it up there anymore. But we've seen this string of wild weather across the United States, and I hate to say it, but I think it's going to continue. So, we were hit with it bad, left without electricity for multiple days. That's why I always say have a plan. It was a true grid down test type of environment that we were in, and you learn in those situations where the holes in your game are. Now, here's another one, and I'll leave you guys with this. The bird flu found in Tyson Foods chicken supplies. This is out of Tennessee. They've shut down this whole place. They're saying a commercial chicken farm in Tennessee is now under quarantine after birds have tested positive for the bird flu. They alerted authorities Friday to a large number of their flock dying. And they went in and they said they had to euthanize an entire flock to ensure that none of the contaminated chickens made it to any of the grocery stores. They said other poultry farms in a 6-mile radius are going to be tested for the virus, and if anything's found, they're going to have to euthanize them too. They're saying this is the first known case of avian flu this year in the U.S., but China has confirmed more than 460 human infections since October. So China hit with it hard, and this being the first this year here in the United States where we've seen this. So I want to let folks know, when I say a whole flock, I mean 73,500 chickens. And it's because this H7 avian influenza is highly pathogenic. So just wanted to get the information out there, let folks know what's going on with this. I will continue to update. Make sure to check out the RSOE over here. And I also look to be firing back up the live stream on Dabu 777. Ran it through some tests last week for a few days with the stream. Had to work out a few things. I look to get that back up and running. So make sure you're following me over on Dabu 777 for exclusive stuff over there. And a 24/7 chat for everyone as well. And also make sure you're following me on Twitter at Dabu7. You can find me on Facebook, The Underground World News, and of course the website undergroundworldnews.com. You guys get anything you want me to get out there, let me know. Dabu7 at yahoo.com. Until next time, this has been Dabu7 with some Underground World News. Much love.